What's going on, everybody? Sean Daniel here with Guitar Control, and today we are going to learn all about intervals. So let this be a confusion no more. You're going to want to click the link below because I'm going to kind of spell out exactly what we're doing here, and we're going to connect intervals with fret distances. In fact, that's really all an interval is. It's just a distance between two things. They can be two notes, two chords, two scales, anything, right? And all of this stuff, naming-wise, comes from the major scale. The major scale is super important, just like anything else, right? We're going to start 3rd fret on the E string. So if you don't already know this, we're just going to breeze through this. It's going to be on the tab below, too. But the G major scale looks like this. 3E, 5E, 2A, 3A, 5A, 2D, 4D, and 5D. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. Now, it's not necessary that you know the names of all these notes, but numbering them is really important because the numbers won't change depending on what scale you're in. The interval, the space between all these numbers in a scale is going to be the same, all right? So, right here, we've got the first note to the second note. 2 frets, all right? A G to an A. That spacing of 2 frets, there's a name for that. It's called a major second. Seems to make a lot of sense. It's the second note in the major scale. So 2 notes from anywhere is going to be major second. You can slide from the 7th fret to the 9th fret on any string. You just went a major second higher, okay? Now, a lot of times, there's really only a couple types of intervals. There's major ones, minor ones, and perfect ones. We're going to go through all these, all right? But as long as we're talking about seconds, we're going to talk about a minor second. It's just the same thing, but flattened, which is often the case with minor stuff. So if you go from 3 to 4, that's not in the major scale. It's a minor second, okay? Just 1 fret distance. That spacing is what we really want to talk a lot about. Like one example of a minor second is the song White Rabbit. It's just the same chord, F sharp major to G major. It just moves 1 fret back and forth for a while. That's moving a minor second, all right? So that's all I got for you on seconds. Now, arguably one of the most important intervals that you can do is a third, all right? Major thirds and minor thirds. The distance from this note to this note, the 3rd note in the major scale, is a major third. Now we can actually do this on the same fret. A lot of these examples I'm going to take from a scale shape and apply them to one single string. So we've got a G to a to a B, G, A, B, G, A, B. That's a major third from here. Anytime you want to find a major third, you take a note, down a string, and back a fret. On any of the lower strings, that's going to get you a major third. Sometimes it actually might be more helpful to find a major third on the same string. So, from 3, a G, to 7, a B, right there, 1, 2, 3, 4 frets is a major third, okay? So, a root note, a major second, and a major third. Now, major thirds are responsible for a chord's class. That's the difference between a major chord and a minor chord. A minor third, same thing, but flattened, 3 notes. Okay, so 2 examples of going from a root note to its major third and a root note to its minor third. That's staying on the same string, major, minor. Just by listening to that, you can already kind of hear where the darkness of a minor chord comes from and where maybe something like the happiness of a major chord comes from. Now let's take it from the 5th fret. If we want to go a major third higher, we don't have to stay on the same string. We can, like I said before, down a string, back a fret. Major third, minor third, down a string, back 2 frets. Major, minor. So it's really helpful to start seeing these intervals for what they are. It really helps in your lead playing, helps in your chord building, everything, all right? Now, a 4th is going to be interesting. So let's take that G major scale again, G, A, B, C. Straight down is a root note, and it's 4th. Now, if we were to take the minor scale, the G minor scale looks like this. There's G minor, G, A, B flat, C, G major, G, A, B, C. It's the same, whether it's major or minor. That's a fourth is a perfect interval, a perfect fourth. So whether you're playing major, whether you're playing minor, the distance between a G and a C, it exists in both the major scale and the minor scale, so that's a fourth, all right? Now the same thing applies with a fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a G to a D. That is a perfect fifth. And that is really important because you've probably already played power chords before. Of course, maybe the 3rd fret on the E string, the 5th fret on the A string. You can move this all over the place. Really, all it is a 1 and a 5, okay? It's not major, it's not minor, it's a root note, and it's fifth. And because that interval is perfect, as they call it, you can replace any major chord or any minor chord with just that power chord version of it. That is really great for rock style stuff. All right, so after that, and also if you want to do this on the same string, so here's a G to a D to a D, the 3rd fret to the 10th fret, is always going to sound good. That kind of 7 fret slide is always going to sound kind of cool. So maybe like, you can kind of just incorporate that in your playing however you want to do it. Moving on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3rd fret on the E string to the E on the D string, the 2nd fret. That's a major 6, okay? Minor 6 would be the same thing, but flattened, all right? A major 7 would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right there, 3E to 4D. That's a major 7. It really just goes in order through the major scale. I think you probably already get the idea by now. And then a minor 7 would be just that flattened. Really, minor 7 intervals are great for like rock music stuff. That kind of sound right there. Also can be very bluesy if you add it to a major chord. So that right there is a root note, a major 3rd, and a minor 7. That's kind of the makings of a dominant 7 chord, which is really the sound of the blues. So once you kind of start mastering intervals, you'll kind of see, okay, maybe this genre uses a lot of minor 7 intervals. This genre uses like a lot of minor 3rds, major 6s, stuff like that. I think it's very important to start incorporating into maybe your lead playing and your chord building because you'll have such a clearer understanding of how the fretboard works and connects when you start thinking, okay, I gotta go minor 3rd, it's minor chord, that's just 3 frets. And just like we did in that first example, chords can actually be moved in much the same way. Entire chord progressions can be moved in the same way. In fact, a lot of time when there's like a key change or modulation or something like that, everything gets moved up a step being 2 frets, being a major 2nd. Sometimes you can get creative, move whole progressions in different ways. So when I say like whole progressions can move, let's say something like a G major to a D major to a C major, right? I can move this whole progression up or down, and I can communicate with another musician about how I'm doing that in intervals. Let's move the whole thing up a minor 3rd. So everything moves up 3 frets. Which I think is a lot easier to be like, okay, we were playing G major, D major, C major. Now, instead of G major, let's switch to B flat major. Instead of D major, switch to F major. Instead of, you can kind of just go on and on trying to communicate. This is really a much more efficient way to be like, pop that baby up a minor 3rd. Back down a minor 3rd. So really, it's all about movement, the spaces in between things, and the more you kind of have an understanding of the vocabulary, the easier, like I said before, chord building is going to be for you. The easier memorizing lead parts will be because you see the patterns and see them as intervals. And it's going to be way easier to talk to other musicians and maybe try to explain what you're saying because you can really just shout out commands on the fly. Be like, oh, going up a perfect fourth, I know exactly what that is. Maybe root notes are moving around. Go from the 1 to the 5 to the 5th, back to the 4th. All that kind of stuff. So if any of those terms have bewildered you, hopefully that has shed some light on it. So if you've mastered your intervals and you want more, you are totally in luck because we got a bunch of other videos that we'd love for you to check out and give us some feedback on what you want. So feel free to click around, like, comment, and subscribe. We'll talk to you all soon. Thanks a lot.